Good evening. On this Christmas Eve, we are pleased to present part two of a six-part series called Sharing Earth's Resources, Voluntarily Implementing Creative Exchange. Service. This is the creation of a new currency. It's not cryptocurrency, and that's fine if you're involved in that. This is the currency we've always had, but forgot because we've been conditioned to believe that others own parts of the earth, and they do not. But that which we have control over, all that is currently in our possession, as well as our time, our talents, our abilities, are available for us to share with others, just as all that they have and are able to perform are things that are available for them to share with us. And this is something we have always had the power to do and have done before the invention of the monetary system, which has evolved into a system of slavery. It's time for us to break free. So we'll talk about part two in this series, in which we recognize the value, the abundance that's in our hands right now that we could use so that we can ultimately live for free. We'll be right back after this brief greeting.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
Yes, this is the female solution, and every day of the week we give you insight and inspiration from a wonderful team of hosts that share what they have to give to make the world a better place. All of us have the gift of making the world better. Every single encounter with every human being and every being, period, whether it be plant or animal or even insect, every encounter affects a life. And so we can always choose to have a powerful, positive impact on the lives we touch. Last time in part one, we took a look at the reality that the air is free for us to breathe. And we posed the question of what would happen if someone charged us to breathe the air, and if we had to pay money, and we had to get that money to the owners of the air by a certain time, or our air supply would be forcibly cut off. Well, of course, this would create quite a panic, and people would be hustling and striving and even stealing and killing in order to get that daily air supply. Well, if we look at the world we live in now, the current monetary system in which we are paying for the free earth that we live upon, paying for water that runs freely on the earth and falls from the sky, paying for heat, which the sun supplies for us for absolutely free, paying to eat the food that comes out of the earth, that the earth willingly shares, paying for everything that the earth gives us for absolutely free. the rocks, which create stone that we can build our homes, or even the wood from the trees from which we can build our homes, or even the grass and the plants which we can design for covering for our bodies to keep us comfortable in various types of weather. All of these things are provided by the earth for absolutely free, and yet someone has made us believe that they own these things and we must pay them. Now, there's a long history of how this developed, but all it takes is for us to recognize that this system makes no sense in order for us to convert to the system that does make sense. Let's just share. There is enough for everyone. There is enough. Now, in this season where people are enjoying giving, this is a time where we can comprehend this idea. Think of how you feel when you give someone something, a gift, how they respond with joy, and how that gives you satisfaction. You've given them something they need or desire or can use, something that makes them feel good, something that brings them joy and maybe even relief. That new coat that someone needed to keep them warm. Those earrings or necklaces, jewelry that made someone feel beautiful. That special piece of furniture that someone can relax and enjoy. Something as small as an article of clothing or even a toy that brings happiness and joy to a child. It's the joy of giving that which someone desires, which brings joy to us. And when we give for the purpose of bringing joy or fulfilling a need, then we do in fact receive joy from the joy we have shared. This is the spirit with which we must always live, not just around Christmas time, but all times that we are interacting with people. The intention in our hearts should be for the well-being of others. And when that is the intention behind all we share, then we receive joy from sharing. And sharing is mutual, because what happens during this period of time? Well, we exchange gifts. Isn't that correct? Isn't that how it goes? You exchange. I give you something that you desire. You give me something that I desire. This is all we're talking about. A system of exchange, a system of giving that which is desired, a system of giving that which is needed, a system of enriching others whom we love. This can be a way of life for all things. But first, what has to happen is a change of mind, a change in the way we have been conditioned to see people, to see each other as people who are only valued based on what they possess. How did this happen? We have to undo the thinking that governs behavior the rest of the year. The mean selfishness, the cruelty, the hurtful behavior that is a part of a culture that we have learned based on fear. Fear of how you will be treated if you don't have something. So today, we're going to give you an opportunity to remember. Remember all that you have that you can share. And remember that people have value, regardless of their possessions. People have value because they exist. And when we remember that all people have value, then we value who they are and not just what they have that we have been conditioned to believe defines their worth. The system of service is the currency that is the step in the process of creating that new earth that is coming, an earth in which money is no longer needed because it's understood that there is enough for everyone and there is no need to withhold what people need as a means of disempowering them. The earth is free and it does not cost to live. It has never cost to live. And when we realize that it does not cost to live, then we will free ourselves from a system that creates a false sense of poverty and lack. The fact of the matter is that the earth belongs to everyone, and we have the ability to simply share and create. And when we do that, then we remove all of the negative effects that we are experiencing right now. We remove the crime, the violence, all of the distress based on the creation of poverty, which comes from withholding what others need. There's a famous painting. Some may have seen it. And it very aptly demonstrates the cultural values that have been passed down and with which this country was formed, because this country was formed by people who came out of Europe, many of them coming out of debtor's prison. They owed money that they couldn't pay, and so they were thrown in jail. Well, this painting, called Roman Charity, it's a popular painting showing a daughter named Pero, who was secretly breastfeeding her starving father, Simon, who was thrown in prison for stealing a loaf of bread. And his sentence was to die by starvation. So in visiting him, and they would search her, make sure she wasn't carrying any food, she would come to his cell, and unbeknownst to the jailers, she would breastfeed him. She, of course, had an infant, so she was producing milk. So the painting shows this man behind bars sucking from the breast of a woman, which happened to be his daughter, as she held an infant in her other arm. And if you didn't know the backstory, you would think, oh my gosh, this is pornography. No, it is not. It is not sexual. She was saving his life, keeping him alive with her breast milk. And this is what kept him from starving to death. Now, this scene was made famous by artists like Peter Paul Rubens and also Rembrandt Peale. And depicting this scene that was discovered, eventually jailers are wondering, we're not feeding him, how is he staying alive? Well, he was staying alive through his daughter's breast milk. But think about how cruel is a system that throws you in jail because you're hungry and starving, and you steal a loaf of bread because you don't have money to pay. What kind of a system punishes you because others have been too selfish to share? And even watching you starve and be hungry will not offer a piece of bread. And so you steal it, and then you go to jail for being hungry, and they sentence you to death by starvation. Well, this is the kind of culture that has been inflicted on our present day society. This is why so many people are in prison, because they were trying to get money. Either they were stealing, robbing, or even selling something that the government decided was illegal. And so even though they were making money, they were arrested and jailed for trying to make money. Sometimes they were trying to take other people's money or other people's possessions in order to get money to live. But it's the same mentality, the same system. You are punished for not having, and the reason why you don't have is because others will not share. Does this make any sense? Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the creation of a system of sharing by first recognizing that we do in fact have enough to share, and we can use it as currency to get what we need. But first, we have to change our perception of what we actually have, the abundance that we actually have the power to circulate among those who are in need. We'll be right back after this quick break. We want you to stay with us.
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page, as we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force. Our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
Yes, we are ascending. We are ascending to a higher consciousness so that we can create a society in which people live together in peace because they have learned how to share that which they have. We have so many things. We buy and we buy and we buy. We buy food, we buy clothing, we buy appliances, we buy furniture, we buy gadgets, we buy all kinds of things. And if you think about all of the storage spaces that you have in your home, they're storing most of the things that you really don't use on a regular basis. Think about how many boxes you have, how many bins you have, how many drawers you have of things that are good things, but you don't really use them. Think of all the items that you don't wear, all your articles of clothing, not just because they're not in season, but you just really don't care for them anymore. And you have them in bags and you say, one day I'll give them away, but you don't. You hold on to them. You hoard. You hoard. And hoarding comes from the idea that you don't want to let go of something because you might need it in the future. I might need this. So you've got all kinds of things. Books that you don't read or read and just have sitting on the shelf. Books that'd be good knowledge for someone, but you're not giving them away. Magazines, you don't give them away. I might want to read that again, but you don't. Clothing, you think, oh, it's out of style, but I don't want to give it away because I might decide to wear it one day, but you don't. All kinds of things. Shoes, they might not be worn out, but you don't give them away and you don't really want to wear them anymore. And there's someone walking around barefoot or nearly barefoot that could fit those shoes, but do you give them away? No, you don't. You just hold things. Hoarding. What about food? We go shopping and we buy and we buy and we buy as if we're starving. And what happens when you have something in the refrigerator and you might even forgot about it and then it goes bad because you couldn't eat it because it was too much, but you keep buying. It's the idea of, I don't have enough, or, well, I might need this one day. We waste. We waste a lot. And yet, there are people who are homeless, people who are without shelter, people who don't have the money to pay for a place, the roof over their heads, people who don't have clothing to wear, people who don't have food to eat, and they live on the street. Or if they live in a place, it's not well maintained, it's not repaired, it's in disrepair because they don't have the money to pay someone to patch a hole in the wall or purchase a new door or fix a roof or do the things that would make the house safe and secure and warm. Or they live in an apartment where perhaps they're not able to make it safe and secure and comfortable. They don't have the money. And maybe the little things, maybe the little extra rugs you have or blankets or items of furniture that you got stored in the basement, that might help make their home comfortable. But do you share it? No, you don't give it away. You hoard that which you're not using. So what is wealth? Well, we think in terms of somebody being wealthy, they have everything they need. Oh, they got cars, they got fur coats, they got, oh, that's nice. But how many coats can you wear at a time? How many pairs of shoes can you wear at a time? So when you have an overabundance of what you need, you're actually withholding. Wealth. Withholding everyone's abundance, letting them hurt. Wealth. Do you have wealth? Do you have things that you have stored in boxes and bags and places that you don't even look in anymore? Do you have wealth? And why do we envy people who are wealthy? Why do we envy those who have an overabundance of what they don't need? Think of the system that we are living under. And think of the decisions we've made as a result of those values. Believing that people who have an overabundance of things, and maybe they live in an exclusive building where they don't even let you come in if you don't look like you own things, or restaurants that they can go and spend money that they don't even let you come in if you don't look like you own things. You're not worthy to be in the company of people that own a lot of things. You're not wealthy. Think of where that mindset has brought us. Now, there are a lot of people who are currently angry at the present president of the United States. Why? Why? A vast majority of the people have the value that they live by, that they admire someone who has wealth, someone whose decisions have allowed him to accumulate a lot and appear to have an abundance, much more than is needed, and to be able to buy things. And as a result of the appearance of owning things, to be able to control people. How many people sat and watched the show The Apprentice, and they thought it was so amusing when the man who has now been elected president of the United States and his company, his deciding if people were worthy of becoming a wealthy part of a business enterprise based on their choices. And if they displeased him, he would say to them, "You're fired." And people thought that was amusing, him dismissing someone from employment. So now we get the opportunity to experience a reflection of our values that we have and admiring that, because this is all the President of the United States is, a reflection of the values of the people. So what's being reflected back to us is the value of admiring people who have wealth and the power to withhold wealth. What's being reflected back to us is how that is experienced when there are those who are allowed to hurt because they don't have. Why are we angry at the president? Why are we angry at President Donald Trump when all he is a reflection of the value that a large percentage of the population expressed when they voted for him as president? And now we can experience how it feels to live under those values. Now, if we don't like how we feel, then we have a power to make a different choice. But certainly, this is the experience that we are having. This is what it feels like to value withholding everyone's abundance, letting them hurt. So if we are choosing to live under a different value, then that means instead of us valuing people based on what they have, the abundance of things, we will value them for who they are. the wonderful individual, the individualized expression of the Creator that all of us are. And we will value them because they exist, not because they have a certain amount of what we have determined is money. And money is merely a symbol of exchange, a symbol. And because the symbol of exchange that we have chosen to honor is controlled by people that are not the regular human beings, but a small group of people who have claimed ownership of the earth, which is free, then we have allowed people with that mindset to cause us to abuse others by withholding what they need. Why are we doing that? No matter what others may say in the government, if government officials say we are not going to provide free food for people, and you have extra food in your cupboard, nothing is stopping you from bringing over a pot of beans to that neighbor next door. Absolutely nothing. So you could look at that mother and those 5 hungry children and say, that's what she gets for getting pregnant. These single mothers, irresponsible welfare mothers. You could do that. You can look your nose down on them and keep your extra food in your refrigerator, in your cupboard, and not share. And you would be reflecting that which you say you don't like in the President of the United States, who's merely reflecting to all of us that value and what it feels like to withhold everyone's abundance, letting them hurt. Is that really the way you wish to live? We'll be right back. We're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to show you how to prepare to live for free by recognizing the abundance that you have available to share. We'll be right back after this quick break. So stay with us.
Brother, in which we're doing this documentary for Douglas Robinson, your death will not be in vain.
He was a heck of a great dude. And I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
Yes, we applaud the work of our sister Zelda, our Monday morning mindfulness host, in remembering those who are in need and remembering her brother, who, of course, was among those for a time unhoused, and her inspiration to help the unhoused by feeding, offering things needed, clothing, making sure they are not starving, even in the midst of all of this waste of food that we see every day. We have so much that we don't use. And in this system of sharing, service, we get an opportunity to recognize all that we have been hoarding, holding on to, and not circulating among those who could use it. So we've offered 5 steps, and we'll go over each of these steps in each of these 6 parts. Of course, part 1, empower yourself to live for free, which the first step, meaning recognize that you have the power to create a different system other than the monetary system that you're believing you must live by. First, recognize it. That is the power that you have, the power in your own mind. Second, name the possessions you have but don't use. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, in part 3, we're going to talk about recognizing the skills you can offer to others. And that's a system of exchanging what you can do that others may need in terms of your skills. And of course, the 4th thing is identify 5 friends that you know, like, and trust. And they're going to do those same steps. And the next thing is to create your service group, phone, text chain, and all you will need to exchange service points is your cell phone. A very simple system. And the 5th thing is to help each other by using service points as currency. So in these 6 steps, you will develop a means of living for free. But the first step is in that process is naming the possessions you have but don't use. Because there are many different excuses we make for holding on to things. So what we want you to do is list them in alphabetical order. Let's start with A, appliances. Look at all of the appliances that you don't use. And sometimes things may be broken. And you say, well, I'm going to get it fixed. But have you gotten it fixed? No, you're not going to. Either put it in a recycle bin for recycled scrap metal or plastic, or give it away. If you're not using it, if it's put away in a cabinet someplace, you don't use it, on a shelf, you don't use it, you don't even think about it. Someone needs it. If it's working and you don't use it, maybe it's old, maybe you got another one, write it down on the list. That toaster. Okay, well, it's a little rusty. Who would want it? Well, someone would use a toaster that's old if it's still working. Now, if it's not good enough to use, then put it in the recycle bin so that it can be used for recycling. And there are those who drive along the alleys and they will pick up those things. And for them, that's a source of income. Getting the recycles, getting money from the recyclables. So allow them that. Allow someone to benefit from that which you are withholding. So let's go through all your appliances. Next, after A, B. Well, you may have books. Maybe you've got books that are on your shelf and you say, well, I want to save these because, my grandchildren might read them. Okay, so you have grandchildren. And how many of them have been picking up your book? Let's be real. Books are valuable. But if they're gathering dust and the pages are yellowed and they can't even be read anymore, someone would appreciate them. Even if it's somebody that's doing time in prison, got nothing more to do than read some books. Maybe that could enrich their mind. Maybe that could be helpful. If on your shelf, they're not being used, and let's be realistic, your grandchildren are on their cell phone or their tablet. They're not reading pages of an old book, and you're not going to make them, because if they're not doing it now, they're not going to. And you will keep holding on to them until they wither away and can't be read. Get rid of them. Give them to someone. Donate them to a place. Put it down. First, write it down. Before you do anything, write down that which you have that you're holding on to. We want you to make a list of each item. Next thing, C, clothing. Well, you got closets full of clothing, closets full of sweaters that you don't like. They're old fashioned. Pants don't fit anymore. You've gotten too fat, or whatever the case may be. I shouldn't say fat. Larger than you were when you bought them. And you're not going to lose weight. And you know that. So why are you holding on to them? Well, I might lose the weight. No, you probably won't. And they're out of style. But someone would appreciate them. Someone who doesn't have clothing. And you got bags and bags of these. Oh, you say, one day I'm going to take them to Goodwill. But you haven't. You're still holding them. So each item of clothing, list each item. And this is where you're going to see you have a long, long list of things, because every item, we want you to name each item that you are holding on to. D, dishes. Maybe you might have stacks of old dishes. You might have plates, sets that don't match anymore, but you don't even use them. And maybe it's only 2 of you in the house and you got 17 different sets of plates. Oh, well, I might have a dinner party. Oh, no, you won't. Because you never do. Because when you have a dinner party and you pull out paper plates because you don't want to wash dishes. Be honest. Are you using these things? No. Write them down. Go alphabetically according to all of the things in your house. F, furniture. Furniture. You got a basement full of furniture that you don't use, you don't half want it, it's ugly, maybe it's worn, but someone with an empty apartment could use it. It's valuable to somebody. Write it down. All the way from A to Z. Look at what? T, toys. Might have old toys. Well, one day I might have some grandchildren, or maybe if you're a younger person, I might have some children one day. Will they play with those toys? And how far away is that child or grandchild going to be? Really, I might want these for my children. I'm going to hold on to them. Well, someone's children could probably enjoy them right now. But you're withholding, waiting for what if. I might need it. I might want it. Let it go. Television, might have an old TV. Maybe it's old but maybe it still works. Well, if it doesn't, okay, then give it to the recycle people. Let them make some money. But, write it down. Write it down. Each thing that you have, everything. Shoes. How many pairs of shoes do you have that you don't wear, you don't even want to wear, you don't even like anymore, maybe they don't fit anymore? Someone could use those shoes, but you keep saying, well, I might give them away, but you haven't. You still have them. You're hoarding. So what we want you to do is make a list. Every single item that you are holding on to that you don't use. And you're going to find that you have hundreds and hundreds of things. It's going to be a tedious process, but also it will be an enlightening process because you will realize how many things you have, how many things you have been holding on to, and how many things that are valuable to someone. List every single thing. And you're going to find that you have pages and pages. Get a notebook. Get a notebook. Write it out. Because it needs to be readily visible and accessible and comprehensible so that you understand all that you really have. And we're going to show you how this turns into the currency that you will use with those people that you know, like, and trust who are ready to live for free. So we're going to take one last break. And when we come back, we're going to show you systematically how this will translate into currency that you will use. List every single item that you have that you are not using. And if it's something broken, put it in the recycle bin so that it is something that someone can benefit from. We'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. We want to greet those who are watching from all around the world. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you.
And we appreciate you so very much for joining us every day of the week. on the Female Solution Global broadcast because this is our mission to change the world, to transform the world and make it a better place for this and future generations. And so we know in the future, we're going to be living in a very different world in which suffering will disappear. But it's not going to happen magically at the snap of a finger. It's going to happen as a result of the evolution of thought, the realization that the symptoms of our society, the sickness in our society, is based on incorrect thought and belief systems. First of all, being that there's not enough. There's not enough. I got to hold on to what I have. There's not enough. And the other thought is that those people own things and they can make me pay. One thing that this experience that we're having should teach us is that we should never put ourselves in a position of dependency upon people who treat us badly. Why would you do that? The people that you interact with are going to be people that you know, like, and trust. They may be family, they may be friends, they may be associates in an organization, but they are people who share the value of wanting your well-being. And so this list that you are making, this is a list of things that you are going to be able to use as currency, because every single item, you're going to give it 1 point. Not going to hassle over, oh, well, this is valuable and I paid a lot for this, I should get 5 points. Well, no, because you're not using it. If you were going to sell it for that value that you say it's worth, you would have done it, and you didn't. You're simply hoarding it. So rather than it being useless garbage, which is what it is when you are not using it, you can actually use it for currency. Every item is worth 1 point, just one. If you say it's something that's worth more, well, then you go ahead and go and sell it for something. But if you're not doing anything with it, stop saying you're going to sell it, because you're not, because you haven't. You're hoarding. Pair of shoes, 1 point. Pair of gloves, 1 point, because it's a pair. You can't use one without the other. But your tools, you have a whole list of tools. You got hammer, that's a point. Wrench, that's a point. Every item is 1 point. And as you list all of these things in the categories, in the alphabetical categories, you're going to discover that you have hundreds and hundreds of things, hundreds and hundreds of items that you have been hoarding. So these points are the currency that you're going to use. Now, in the next series, we'll talk about the work that you will do and how each minute of work is also worth 1 point, because everybody's time is the same value. And you can say, well, I'm a plumber. My 30 minutes of work is more valuable than this person's half hour of work. Their 30 minutes of what they do, braid hair. That's nothing. Well, in those people that you know, like, and trust, these are people who understand that all people are of the same value. So my 30 minutes of time is worth the same value as your minutes, your 30 minutes of time. So we'll talk about that in part 3. The value of your time. And everyone's time is worth 1 point for each minute. So now we're going to take a look at the 1 point that you give to all of your things. Because what is going to happen is that when you give someone something, they will give you in exchange either something that you need, where there's a direct exchange, 1 point of something for 1 point of something that they have, or they will simply give you a point. And that point is something that you can use as currency with another person from your group. So you may not have someone who exactly has something that you need, but they have what you have. They have something that you need, or you have something that they need. And if there's not a direct exchange, then there is an exchange of points. So if my friend needs a hammer, and perhaps my friend has a jacket that I value, well, my hammer is 1 point, that jacket's 1 point. We exchange. But maybe my friend doesn't have anything that I desire, that I value, that I need. I give them a hammer, they give me a point. And that point is something that I can use with someone else who has something that I do need. Because in this service group are people who are agreeing to honor this currency of points. And this is something that you can do without anyone's approval, anyone's decreeing that this is lawful. This is something that you have the power to do in your own hands. All it requires is the trust of each other that you will be fair in your exchange. This is why it has to be understood in the beginning that you are exchanging things that you are willing to assign the 1 point value to. If you're arguing over, well, I'm not giving you my fur coat, that's worth more than a point. Well, then you need to go and sell that to people who will pay you what you say it's worth. But if you're hoarding it, it's worth nothing. Things are only having value if they are being circulated where they can be used. Otherwise, you have wealth. You are withholding everyone's abundance, letting them hurt. So this is a critical point to understand as we prepare to live according to service. And we are able to find those of like mind who are willing to remember that the earth is free. There is no cost to live. And when we remember this, then we can in fact create a moneyless society. Because all of us have the power to choose to share. All of us have the power to choose to give that which we are not using to others. All of us have the power to do this. And so because we have the power, we can create a system that we control. And as we look at all of the things that we have, all of the things that we are not using and holding on to, then we can begin the process of circulating those things that have value to others. And this is what it's all about. Sharing Earth's resources, voluntarily implementing creative exchange. So in part 3, we're going to take a look at how to recognize the skills you can offer to others. And that becomes part of your currency. So until next time, we want you to prepare your list of all of those things that you can use for service. I'm Naima Latif, and we'll see you next time.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.